Happy birthday if you were born on the 29th of February any year. I was going to say 2024, but then you would be a baby being born now or a few hours ago. But if your birthday is today, we celebrate you because we know we are going to have to wait another 4 years before we can celebrate your birth again. So today, make the best of it. Today, the 29th of February. This year is a leap year, so we have 366 days in the year of 2024, which has actually moved most of our birthdays to different days. For instance, my birthday last year was on a Wednesday, but this year my birthday will be on a Friday because of that 1 day. And there is something they say about timing and seasons. The Bible says that there is a time for everything. So today being the 29th of February, what decisions are you supposed to make and haven't made? You can do that today because delay is actually a killer of dreams. So as we start this day, you can chew on that, think on that, and see what changes you need to make in your life. You should never call yourself a procrastinator because that's not something to be proud of. That is not something to brag about. It is something that you actually have to fight against so that you better your life. Well, my name is Olive Monica Najuma, and today on this flight is Chirabo Robert Nyonyintono, Jerome Paul Sonko, and Chantal Olive Akandinda. And together, we take you through this last day of February from this minute up until the hour of 9 o'clock. So I'll be checking on the team, starting with Jerome Paul Sonko. Good morning.
Well, good morning to you, and good morning to our viewers from all over Africa, and then to all of those catching us from Uganda. It's the 29th of Feb, and there's some myths behind this day that have been going through. That on such a day, it delays to actually. Delays to actually get done.
Well, delays are supposed to happen in life, but how fast we react to them is what matters. Now, we will get back to Sonko in a minute, but for now, I would like to check on Chantal Olive Akandinda. How are you this morning?
Very well, thank you. How are you, Olive?
I'm okay. How are you?
I am all right. You were talking about the delays a few minutes ago, but I landed on a story yesterday of the tree under which the 1900 agreement was signed.
Yes, at Chambogo University.
Yes, and apparently the tree fell.
They said due to the downpour on, was it Monday night? Was it so heavy to an extent of downing a tree though?
Yes, when you remember very well, or when you try to recollect, as I was even mentioning, that rain was windy, really windy. We had walls collapsing. We had trees falling actually in certain parts. Personally, I saw that when I was on my way to work in the morning. So that very night, or that very wind, or that very rain actually led to the collapse of the tree under which the agreement was signed.
So history went down with the rain. But I'm hoping, actually, speaking about history, that there is a way we, hold on to these things. I don't know where the Uganda Museum is amidst all of this. Maybe Chirabo has an idea. Good morning.
A lovely morning to you, and of course our viewers. Thank you so much for waking up with us. Now, when we talk about the museum, there we collect these artifacts and all that. So there is no way you can collect a tree.
No,
however,
we don't collect a tree, but keep history.
We must be able to preserve these specific areas, of which I don't think we are doing so very well. So very well. We're not very good at preserving our history, more so that is not so much in government-owned property. So we still have that challenge. Otherwise, there's so much history that we have as a country, and we've not really given it that great importance to protect it. Now, like such a tree should be very protected. Recently, we were talking about Janandumu. Yes. And I was asking myself, this cell called Room 2, where this man was being locked, there's so much history, but it's not preserved. Though you can still locate it. But it should be preserved. This person whose statue is even in the United Kingdom, you know? How come we can't just preserve that particular area? That this is the cell where he was brought, this is where, you know? So we are doing that very well. It's like also some of our tourism sites, when you go to them, go to CP Falls, you know? Go to even the source of the Nile. There's so much, and you wonder, for sure, is this what I've been reading about, grown up studying? And this is how this thing looks? Just like Kamia River and a bridge, and then
there is nothing to show that it is as big as it is in
where it's the
history.
beginning of the longest river, so we have to do so much in preserving, in protecting such very important sites. But yesterday something happened that is still worrying me. The way people are responding towards alcoholic drinks control bill. You are all up in arms saying we need to regulate alcohol, but it seems money is going to take precedence.
Because the private sector before the committee was not really happy with what the government intends to do with the bill. So I think from the private sector, you realize that it's going to be a difficult one, but we'll wait to see.
The Uganda Manufacturers Association, bar owners, it seems everyone is hitting this bill. And by the look of things, they may have to take it and restructure it. People are complaining. How do you regulate consumption of alcohol from 5 on weekdays to about 10, then tell people to go and drink from home? You know, so we're just fighting that. Then others are saying, but you know how much is attached to night business? And night business, the pivotal point being alcohol. You know how many businesses you're going to kill. So I'm getting worried that we may end up that money has superseded protection of our generation. One MP came up and said, most of us here, we are here because our mothers were selling waraj, and that's how we became, and that's how we were able to be educated. Now, how do you tell us to come against that which educated us and made us who we are?
Think about it like this.
Yes.
Sorry. Think about it like this. You're looking at, you know, after the pandemic, the night economy actually contributed a lot more to the economy than any other, aside from, of course, domestic tourism, which were competing. So in this case, you're looking at us, we are torn in between, but we can have ways of regulating how much alcohol is being taken by people, but we cannot now, as if you're treating Ugandans like high school kids. Your curfew is at this time, by now you're supposed to be in prep, by now you can't eat from this classroom, you have to eat from here. I think it is wrong. We can regulate, and we can teach people how to manage how much they take, but you can't tell someone after 10 p.m. don't drink from this place. You're killing business in the country.
Well, one would argue that it is working elsewhere here in East Africa with one of our neighbors. They have curfew and it seems to be working. So can't we have the same in Uganda? And also for the people that are proposing this regulation, are they really working for, are they really envisioning a Uganda that is not grappling with alcohol consumerism, or it is selfish individuals? Because we also need to look at that.
Well, it does depend. It does depend on what they want to achieve with it, because others are actually looking at it as a way of controlling alcoholism, and then the high level of you know, of disorder in society. Disorder in a sense that many people have become so reluctant with their lives. Waking up in the morning to go to the bar, or others actually spend an entire week
abandoning families. Much as it educated some, look at those that have not gone to school because of alcohol. Look at the rate of accidents because of drunken driving. All that.
But also we need to look, I think, in my own opinion, this is the time when we also look at the reasons, the contributing factors as to why people are drinking. If you're supposed to be working, you're in your prime, this is the time to go to work. Why are you in a bar? Do you have the job? So I think as we try to have a better Uganda where people are not really alcohol addicts, we need to look at the grassroots and see where the problems are coming from. Otherwise, all these things will be tabled in Parliament, but in actual sense, they will not work. And that would be sad.
You can't stop alcoholism by putting such restrictions. You are giving Panadol or a painkiller to a cancer patient.
That's why I'm saying let's go back to the grassroots and find out the root of the problem.
Find out what the problem is. Let's handle the problem from the core instead of beating around the bush. Touch your ear and you do this. No, no.
Well, that is an interesting take from Chantal, but right about now, we delve into the local news.
Well, I choose to begin with politics, where we saw the NRM yesterday deciding to embark on an exercise that will update the registrar. Now, President Yoweri Museveni warned party administrators and registrars against fraudulent tendencies in the update and registration of NRM party members. Museveni called for transparency during the exercise, warning of legal implications and consequences against errant officers. The president sounded this warning at the NRM Electoral Commission in Kampala while addressing NRM party registrars shortly after launching the update exercise at the NRM party headquarters in Kyaddondo. President Museveni officially launched the national registration and voters update exercise in preparation for the 2026 general elections. The exercise is scheduled to take place over 5 days, starting from the 13th of March to the 17th of this very year. During the launch at the party headquarters in Kampala, the president emphasized the importance of vigilancy among registrars to prevent any infiltration by opposition elements with intent to disrupt NRM party primaries.
Well, moving on, different stakeholders in the alcohol subsector, including Uganda Manufacturers Association, are suggesting for a review and restructure of the Alcohol Drinks Control Bill 2023. While meeting the Parliamentary Committee of Health, Tourism, Trade and Industry, these attributed penalties and restrictions disclosed in the bill as infringes on human rights rather than being regulatory. The proposed alcohol control bill, among others, seeks to regulate alcohol consumption in the country. Various stakeholders, including Uganda Manufacturers Association, Kampala City Traders Association, among others, have engaged with the Committee of Health, Tourism, Trade and Industry to present their submissions on the alcohol bill. Different submissions from these stakeholders all lined on the exaggeration of laws and restrictions placed in the bill. These, however, also place the dangers and challenges that are likely to come up from the bill. Members of the committee, however, disagreed with the stakeholders in some elements submitted. The bill has continuously faced rejection because sections of these stakeholders think this infringes on human rights rather than being regulatory. These are now advocating for restructuring and revising of the alcohol bill. Uganda Manufacturers Association, however, informed the committee how some industries in the sector are relocating to neighboring countries, a thing that might affect Uganda's economy. The Alcohol Drinks Control Bill 2023, which seeks to regulate the manufacture, sale and consumption of alcoholic drinks, was tabled before Parliament last year by Honorable Sarah Opendi.
And moving on, in a pivotal stakeholders dialogue at the Imperial Royal Kampala, key players in disaster management in Uganda came together to address the pressing need for a comprehensive legislative framework. The Uganda Parliamentary Forum on Disaster Risk Reduction pledged commitment to support the National Disaster Risk Management Bill that is in the offing. Councillor Alex Luganda emphasized the urgency for Uganda to enact a National Disaster Risk Management Bill, citing deficiencies in the current National Disaster Preparedness and Management Policy. Sarah Opendi and fellow members of Parliament on the Forum of Disaster Risk Reduction expressed unwavering dedication to collaborate with governmental bodies, the Red Cross, and other stakeholders to facilitate and enact a robust disaster risk management law. Carol Namagembe of Civil Society Budget Advocacy Group underscored the significant role played by civil society organizations in effective disaster risk management. Catherine Himbisibwe, Acting Commissioner, Disaster Preparedness and Response, and Pamela Komunjuni, the Senior Disaster Management Officer at the Office of the Prime Minister, introduced the draft Disaster Management Bill 2023, highlighting its potential to establish a solid legal foundation for comprehensive disaster preparedness, response and management in Uganda.
The Supreme Court on Wednesday conferenced over 20 appeal cases filed before it. Among the appeals included one for the Attorney General against Mityana Municipality Member of Parliament Francis Zake, challenging the Constitutional Court's decision when it ordered Parliament to reinstate him as a Commissioner to Parliament. The conference, presided over by Justice Percy Knight Tuhaise, court ordered all parties file written submissions. In the Constitutional Court, the majority decision court ruled that the then Speaker Anita Annette Among, who presided over the matter, violated the principles of natural justice by not recusing herself as a complainant. The other cases that were conferenced were for Professor George Wilson Kanyehamba, where he challenged the Constitutional Court's decision for dismissing his petition he had filed against the Attorney General and President Museveni, challenging the move to scrap off bail to suspects on capital offences. Professor Kanyehamba, who represents himself, told court that he had already filed his submissions to court. However, the submission was objected to by Adore, the Assistant Commissioner of Oath. In her ruling, Justice Percy Knight Tuhaise ordered Professor Kanyehamba to file written submissions by 14th of March. Supreme Court is also to reconstruct a new panel to deliver a judgment in the case filed by the Attorney General against the former Nakawa Member of Parliament, Michael Kabaziguruka. This followed the demise of Justice Apio Aweri and Justice Stella Arach Amoko, who were members on the panel. Well, that does it for local news. Now, Chantal Olive takes us through the news on the international scene, but also in climate and on the African continent.
Well, according to the head of humanitarian policy and advocacy at Save the Children, what we are witnessing in Gaza right now is the mass killing of children in slow motion. The Gaza Health Ministry says 6 children died in North Gaza from dehydration and malnutrition at Kamal Adwan and Al-Shifa hospitals, while others are in critical condition. Doctors Without Borders warns that Gaza's whole healthcare system is collapsing. Healthcare has been attacked. It's collapsing. It's a matter of life and death that more aid crossings opened to Gaza, says Samantha Power, the head of USAID. At least 29,954 people have been killed and 70,325 wounded in Israeli attacks on Gaza since October 7th. The revised death toll in Israel from the October 7th attacks stands at 1,139. Moving on, France's upper house of parliament, the Senate, has voted overwhelmingly to enshrine women's rights to abortion in the constitution. The proposal, approved earlier by the lower house, the National Assembly, was backed by 267 votes to 50 on Wednesday. Abortion has been legal in France since 1974, but pressure has grown to further cement it in law. There is concern that the right to termination is being eroded in allied nations like the US and Poland. French President Emmanuel Macron has called a special repeat vote on Monday involving both houses meeting together away from Paris in the suburb of Versailles. If the joint session approves the constitutional amendment with a majority of at least 3/5, there will be no need to put it to a referendum. An IFOP opinion poll taken in November 2022, when the National Assembly was voting on the legislation, suggested 86% of people supported the amendment. None of the country's main political parties cautioned the right to abortion, but the language used in the amendment was revised after the 2022 vote, when the National Assembly endorsed the right to abortion. Coming back to Africa, Ghana's parliament has passed a tough new bill that imposes a prison sentence of up to 3 years for anyone convicted of identifying as LGBTQ+. It also imposes a maximum 5-year jail term for forming or funding LGBTQ+ groups. Lawmakers echoed down attempts to replace prison sentences with community service and counseling. It is the latest sign of growing opposition to LGBTQ+ rights in the conservative West African nation. The bill, which had the backing of Ghana's 2 major political parties, will come into effect only if President Nana Akufo-Addo signs it into law. He previously said he would do so if the majority of Ghanaians want him to. Gay sex is already against the law in Ghana. It carries a 3-year prison sentence. Now, speaking matters climate, African apes are already being exposed to climate change impacts and will experience extreme events such as wildfires, heat waves and flooding more frequently in the next 30 years, and this is according to a study published on February 28th in the open access journal PLOS Climate by Razak Karibu in Haramaya University in Ethiopia and colleagues. To better understand how African great apes will be affected by climate change, researchers investigated past and future climate for 363 sites across Africa. They estimated temperature and rainfall at each site between 1981 and 2010. Using 2 climate change scenarios, they projected how frequently apes would be exposed to climate change impacts in the near 2021 to 2050 and the long term 2071 to 2099. They estimated the likelihood of extreme events that could impact apes directly or indirectly, such as droughts, flooding, wildfires, and crop failure. Between 2007 and 2016, almost half of the sites had experienced higher than average temperatures, and eastern chimpanzees experienced the most extreme temperatures. That does it for climate news and what is happening across the world.
Well, thank you, Chantal. Now we delve into the press review right this minute with Joram Paul.
Well, and kicking it off from the New Vision this morning, the New Vision is highlighting President Museveni launches update of party register with NRM to screen new members. Read about that, the pictorial of the president, the vice president, at the front page of the New Vision. Meanwhile, Professor Bukenya has been named presidential advisor. As a new outbreak, measles, hundreds of children have been admitted. As in the International Criminal Court, Kony victims awarded 220 billion Ugandan shillings. Growth, Professor Sachs' strategy to spur Uganda's economy. Read more about that. Then in court, City Hotel faces closure over noise. Which City Hotel is that? Find more about it in the New Vision. Then the Daily Monitor is highlighting 590 billion shillings down the drain in Luwa Hospital project. More findings from the same as revelations are still ongoing. You can see a pictorial of one investor, which is Miss Enrique Penetti, at the front page of the Daily Monitor. Now, NRM lays claim to 11 million voters in its register as a storm fells historic tree at cradle of Uganda's education. Then you can also read about a supplementary magazine talking about UCC at 25. Then you can read through the Lizard is saying, let the numbers game begin. NRM lays claim to 11 million voters of the register. Now, lastly, from our press review, we head to Kenya, You look at leap year bubbles and their rare birthday. How old are they? Really? Read about that in the Daily Nation. Now, on goal, Gor Mahia lands yet another FIFA ban as Kongalo barred from making signings. Then Raila's AU job race faces new hurdle. Africa's decision on the proposed election rules to be made soon. Then Muturi warns taxman over illegal housing levy collections. Then in crime, slain varsity Donny's family seeks justice. As in Parliament, inside renewed push to implement gender rule in Kenya. That is what you can read about in the Daily Nation today, bringing us to the end of our press review this Thursday.
Well, thank you, Jerome Paul. Now, if you are a parent and your child failed senior 4 exams of 2023 or were not able to resit them, you can now visit a universal secondary school near you and have them registered to resit the exams in a few months from now. But also, private schools are offering this service because it's a directive from the Education Ministry, so that these students can be helped to transition into the new curriculum that was introduced right before COVID-19. So you should keep that in mind, especially for the gentleman yesterday, Bernard, that was inquiring about the same. With that, we will take a short break, and when we come back, we will still be speaking matters education. Happy birthday if you were born on the 29th of February any year. I was going to say 2024, but then you would be a baby being born now or a few hours ago. But if your birthday is today, we celebrate you because we know we are going to have to wait another 4 years before we can celebrate your birth again. So today, make the best of it. Today, the 29th of February. This year is a leap year, so we have 366 days in the year of 2024, which has actually moved most of our birthdays to different days. For instance, my birthday last year was on a Wednesday, but this year my birthday will be on a Friday because of that 1 day. And there is something they say about timing and seasons. The Bible says that there is a time for everything. So today being the 29th of February, what decisions are you supposed to make and haven't made. You can do that today, because delay is actually a killer of dreams. So as we start this day, you can chew on that, think on that, and see what changes you need to make in your life. You should never call yourself a procrastinator, because that's not something to be proud of. That is not something to brag about. It is something that you actually have to fight against so that you better your life. Well, my name is Olive Monica Najuma, and today on this flight is Chirabo Robert Nyonyintono, Jerome Paul Sonko, and Chantal Olive Akandinda. And together, we take you through this last day of February from this minute up until the hour of 9 o'clock. So I'll be checking on the team, starting with Jerome Paul Sonko. Good morning.
Oh, good morning to you, and good morning to our viewers from all over Africa, and then to all of those catching us from Uganda. It's the 29th of Feb.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial star 165 star 3 hash or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free. The cardinal role of a government is maintaining law and order, safeguarding citizens' rights, and providing essential public goods and services. Throughout its tenure, the government has consistently upheld these principles. This foundation creates an environment conducive to delivering crucial social services to citizens through diverse approaches such as taxation, strategic budgeting, and effective policy implementation. A transformative education system, advancing healthcare provisions, enhancing social welfare, and propelling infrastructure growth, all of which continue to evolve daily to cater to the population's expectations. Supported by a meticulously organized network of ministries, government remains committed to serving its citizens. Coming soon on your public broadcaster, The Front Bench, your interface with the government every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with Jerome Paul Sonko, only on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Juku. Yo. Hawa Chiku. Chick the shopping man. What's your secret?
Uganda, haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sewatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juku. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are,
but you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What to do? Just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief, and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government, designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you Tuko Pamoja Ankole segment. Learn about the fabrication of Ankole Kingdom from Nkore, the beautiful village of milk and honey at the detriment of Mpororo states.
Ankole as a kingdom came about in 1901.
Ankole is a colonial fabrication.
And all these so small kingdoms were counties of the original Itara.
Ruhinda, Ruanjunachi, who was Mtrezi,
the son of Wamara Ranjanjuru.
And that starts the rulers of Ankole called Bahinda.
Who are the pre-colonial heroes from Ankole?
Is it Rutaraka, Muguta? Is it Intare, Kitabanyoro? Find out from Tuko Pamoja.
Daily screenings at Ham Cinemax in Wandegea at 11:30, 2 p.m., 4:30 and 7 p.m. To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660. Tuko Pamoja?
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
107.3 Kampala, 96.9 Mbale, 95.7 Jinja, 98.6 Soroti. You are all covered.
UBC Butego. UBC Butego.
Buli munya-Uganda nayetenga amakuru marungi. UBC West eyina amakuru marungi kandi agali kwesigwa. Rero za programu zayo ziri omulunya kitara hamwe n'orufumbira. UBC West eyina tekinologiya ey'omulembe eri kugibasisa kuhika omu bicweka byona omu ihanga nangu n'aheeru y'eihanga. Tukwatire aha frequency zetu. Kisoro 97.7 Fama, Kalari 93.7 Fama, Hoima 99.1 Fama, Kampala 95.7 Fama, Mbarara 97.4 Fama, Footpoto 98.8 Fama, Masindi 5 Fama. Kurikiriza UBC West ohurire mbaganiza. UBC West empika huna.
Amina gange ndetubona kiranda Amina mu company eya WIB Uganda Limited ndi member. Wemba member company eno weyeida twalinga tutuli bulungi nga abashala abe wakawaka. Abashala abe wakawaka tuemera kubaami baife nga bonkana abajamu nandanga twidi nti abakyala bakozesa ki nanda. UN Women weyeida yatuteekateeka yatwegesa okulunda engege nga abakyala. Twatandika beno okudulunda n'okudirisa n'okola ki. Twafunamu nga abakyala aba Bugiri district. Abakyala ba Bugiri district so fatuli abakyala 14 abakola project eno eya WIB. Abakyala 14 twayawula mu sectors. Mulimu abakyala ba production, abalisa, mwaba abakyala ba validation, abongera engege omutindo bayongerako omutindo. Twaba n'abakyala ba harvesting, aba harvestinga. Twaba n'abakyala abakola aba marketing. Sector donna diri trained. Era didi kyedikola ki? Kyedikola. Project eno tufunyemu nga abakyala. Government yaife ne ya Uganda njebaza. Okuja kujanga batulingirira mu nga abakyala abana Uganda. Eri kujanga eturobingira ebibiina bingi. We have UWeb, baleta parish development model. We have Myoga. Byona biri kwida muki mu bakyala oba mu bantu abaki aba Uganda.
Mukoke Fish Farmers Association tuli balunzi ba byananda ebyebika ebisatu omuli Miracap, tilapia oba engege ni catfish twete male. Group eno twatandika twali abantu basatu nga tulingirira obwetaavu obwebyenanda oba obwivwa okubona nti tufuna okasente akava mu maadi agali gatambula butambule nga gatubita ku wano ng'ekirabo. Twatandika ni fish pond ndala mu mwaka gw'e2018. Twebaza fisheries officer ni district ya Bugiri babanga batulagirira kusaani fish farm ebwikwe inside day ndeyo. Twabanga tusobola okufuna kwetusaako obugege obwasooka era mu mwaka ogwali 2020.
Live from
UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Welcome back. Thank you for being a part of Good Morning Uganda. My name is Olive Monica Najuma, and like I said earlier, we are going to be speaking matters education. Like I usually say, education is pivotal to any country, and of course, if you have an educated population, then this is going to foster development for that country, and in this case, Uganda. Now, we have moved a long way to where we are today, so much so that now we are speaking about education fairs and how you can actually help yourself and maybe be able to go for further studies abroad, but even locally. And by that, now I'm referring to the 14th Annual Africa Students Education Fair that is going to start tomorrow and will go on until Saturday, 2nd March 2024 at the Sheraton Hotel. What are the key objectives for this fair? What is the target audience and why do we have this fair? Also, some of the questions we'll be looking at: how has the fair evolved and who has benefited from it? So I won't be able to answer those questions, but I have someone with me that will be able to take us through and make us understand. Who knows, maybe you, maybe me, could pick interest in this fair and see how it will benefit us, or those that we are taking care of who are still students, or those that want to further their education. Now I'll be speaking to Martin Nomwesigwa, who is the representative WR Education Placement Consultants. What do they do, and why this fair? What is that? Why is it necessary for you and I to know about this fair? You're welcome to Good Morning Uganda.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Oh, well, we are glad to have you. And here on Good Morning Uganda, one of the key issues that we are passionate about is education.
Yes.
Yes. So because we are passionate about it, we will delve right into it. And first of all, to our viewer out there, what can you tell us about this education fair? What are the key objectives and why should anyone be interested?
Okay. First of all, thank you very much for having me here. And very good morning to all our dear viewers. One of the major objectives of why we are actually organizing the fair is because of the demand and due to the information gap. There are many people who have dreams and their career goals to go and study abroad to further their studies, but so that they are able to increase their chances of getting better jobs, creating better companies, making connections, and much more. So when the gap was established in the market, that many people always come to us and then they say, I wish I knew. So to solve that problem of I wish I knew, we started coordinating with our partners. Our partners are schools and other education institutions who we work with every day of the year, so that we're able to place students in different countries across the world. So we organize such events so that we pull schools and education institutions to come here in Kampala, and then they are able to showcase, talk to students and parents about what they offer, the requirements for the programs that they have at their schools, be it scholarships, be it financial aid, among other things. So why we organize these fairs is to make sure that people get the right information, because misinformation is also worse than even ignorance.
Of course.
Yes, so when people get the right information, there is a misconception that studying abroad is for the rich. It is expensive.
Isn't it though?
It is a two-way, it is a two-sided coin.
Okay,
everybody can get their
yes,
everybody can get their offer. It depends on, for example, if your budget is limited, then you look at the budget. destinations or budget programs and schools, then if you feel like your pockets have no limit, then you can go for whatever program or whichever country and school that you want. Yes.
So there are facets to this.
Yes.
If, for instance, I want to study journalism,
yes,
maybe the US may be expensive for me, but another country could actually be able to sit within my budget framework. Okay. That is an interesting take. Now, you have been around. This fair has been organized for over 14 years.
Yes.
This is the 14th one. So what have been the achievements of the past fairs, and what makes this new one, the one for this year, unique?
Oh, thank you very much. So first of all, we've been here the longest. We are the first local player to organize such study abroad fairs, bringing international universities and colleges to come and showcase here and take students abroad. Over the years, we have, together with our partner or our parent company, that is parent company, which is WR, Education Placement Consultants, we've been able to place more than 10,000 students in various institutions. And also we've been able to assist students even in getting financial aid and scholarships to a tune of over $300,000 and counting. So you find that some of the students have gone to US, they have gone to Canada, they have gone to the UK, others have gone to India, depending on the program you're doing, and also the availability of these resources or facilities. For example, at the moment we are having some good scholarships for studying in China, for anyone who is interested to study in China. This is how we are able to assist some of the students. That's why I was saying that it is not necessary for the rich. You just need to access the right information and know, how do I obtain this? What are the requirements? Do I have them? If I don't have them, what do I need to get them? And we are able to assist you along the way because we provide student counseling, among other things.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Well, this just got more interesting. Now, if you are there and probably you have been massaging and playing around with the idea of further education abroad, this is the information that you need. But now when you say that, that you help students, you give them the resources, you help them with the right information of regarding pertaining to the courses and even the countries and even the scholarships that they may have. Someone out there may be wondering, is this free?
So yes, first of all, for the education fair that we're going to be having for these 2 days, that is 1st and 2nd of March, entrance is absolutely free.
Yes.
We are bringing more than 20 schools to come and showcase, talk to students.
Those are abroad schools?
Yes. And we have also representatives who have a pool of schools that they work with. So you find that some of our partners are working with more than about 1,500 schools with over 30,000 programs. So we believe there is a program or a school for everyone.
Okay.
So, yes.
Now, speaking about schools, which international and local schools are involved in this program?
Thank you again. So first of all, largely we're looking at studying abroad.
Yes.
So meaning majority will be international colleges and universities.
Yes.
So
can you name names?
Yes, we have. I can name a few.
Yes.
We have, for example, the University of Law. This is the #1 legal school in the UK. It has taught many renowned scholars. Even the Mayor of London is actually an alumni of the same school. This works with different industry leaders. Actually, you are being taught by the practicing lawyers, like barristers and solicitors. So which gives you the real world information, not just book information. Then we have Loyalist College. We have Sale University. This is good for people who are interested in production. It has won even awards. It has about 110 studios, and in terms of production, if you are a student there, you are able to work with Hollywood the academy. By academy I mean Oscars and stuff. So it is a big university, and we have IBS. This is based in Hungary. Then we have we have Senac, which is one of the biggest colleges in Canada. We have many schools, and then of course now there are people who might say, what if my child is still has finished O-level, like O-level results have just gotten out.
Yes.
So we have a school we work with, our partner, called Kai Global School. If your student is going for HSC or high school, instead of studying 2 years, you can bring your child, they study for 1 year, and they're able to transition to go and study in Canada. They will get offers of their choice to go and study in Canada.
In university.
In universities and colleges of their choice. So what happens is you transition from O-level, which is literally grade 10, then they come and do grade 12 with us, which they will be able to finish within a period of 1 year. And by the time they finish, they would have already gotten offers from various schools. That's the benefit. And then they also get the student number as though they are studying in Canada. So for them, they are treated as local students. That is the benefit that they get.
Interesting. I like that the fair caters to different academic needs of people from diverse educational backgrounds.
Yes.
Because now, in my head, I had, and I think I'm not alone,
Yes.
in my mind I was thinking, probably this is for people that have finished university, rather senior 6 maybe, joining university for undergraduate. And please tell us more about the other category of people that that this program is aimed at helping.
So this program is aimed at helping any Ugandan with a dream to go and study abroad, a dream to better themselves.
At whatever level,
at whatever
PhD,
level.
Masters.
So yes, starting actually, like I've said, starting from high school, going to undergraduate, graduate programs, and postgraduate. Why? Because we have, as you can tell, we have a high school that will be exhibiting. We have colleges which will do diplomas and bachelors. We have universities which will do bachelors, of course still diplomas, masters and PhDs. And then of course we also have institutions for learning, for languages. If, for example, when you're going to study abroad, they always require you to do an English test.
True.
Yeah.
Why is that though? I will have to to clip it in there. Why? Because for instance, in Uganda, official language is English, and our language of instruction in schools is English. So why is it that for an English-speaking country, when we are going, let's say, to Canada or the United Kingdom for further studies, we are asked to do language tests?
Well, one of the reasons is they can't fully tell that you'll be able to reach the other side and cope up with your studies. So that's why they always focus on listening, reading, and of course also, can you speak the language? Because these professors are always lecturing in English, and to them it is literally their native language. So when we all have gone through school, but the level to which we speak and articulate English differs. So they want to be sure that when you're going, you're not going to waste your money. Because when you reach there and then you can't communicate well, you can't participate in class, or you can't get what they are saying, then you are the one who is disadvantaged. So they always try to test that. Will you be able to reach there and actually get what they are teaching? But also, we have schools that exempt Ugandans from doing that. Now that's why you should come out and find out for yourself, because it is not like one size for all. Yeah, you can say, no, for me, I've studied this, I've studied English, I'm good at this, and you'll be exempted.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. That's an interesting take.
Yeah.
Now, still speaking of the same, let's speak career guidance
Yes.
and counseling. I've had people say that sometimes Ugandans leave the country to go for further studies abroad, but then they pick the wrong courses.
Yes.
Okay, so does the fair provide this kind of guidance when it comes to what courses should you pick when you do decide to go and further your studies?
Yes.
Because someone will go and study to be an archaeologist, but will it benefit them in the long run? Will they get jobs both abroad and even back home here?
Yeah. So thank you very much for that good question. So first of all, we provide counseling to all our students in terms of, for example, WR has existed for more than 20 years. It is actually it is the oldest, not one, but it is the oldest study abroad consultant in Uganda, and actually the biggest. So when you come to us, we advise you. We look at where you are, and then what are your aspirations, and then we try to advise you whether it is a good, path you're taking, if there is a mismatch or they are not connecting, and how it might affect you. Because, for example, if I've not done any sciences, and all of a sudden I say I want to do nursing, I'm likely not to be accepted, first of all.
Now, let's clip it.
Yes.
There. I know people that have left the country
Yes.
without any background of sciences,
Yes.
like you said.
Yeah.
But right now, they're registered nurses. They
Yes.
have gone to the UK, they have studied, and
Yes.
now work for the NHS.
Yes. Yeah.
How does... it makes no sense. So are you saying that if I use your program, I'm likely not to get that, yet other people are getting it?
Now, the good thing would be, how did they get there? That's the most important thing. What program do you need to do first before you are accepted? Do you do a foundation course? Do you do an accelerator program? What do you do to get into that program, your dream program? Because if you don't have any background into the program you want to do, definitely they cannot, you can't go there and you are accepted. You are going to be treating people and you don't have any background, and you're not willing to even put in a bit of effort to get at least a foundation of what you're going to do. So that means you can't be accepted.
Okay, I hear you when you say that. Now let's look at scholarship opportunities.
Yes.
You did say that one of the benefits of being a part of this fair is that you may provide people with information and resources regarding scholarships.
Yes.
Please tell us more about this.
Thank you again very much. So we have many scholarships as far as for studying abroad is concerned, but in this fair, largely we'll be looking at studying in China as a destination. China is one of the major economies in the world. It is a super economic power, and as a result, they are looking at bringing in more students to study in their country. So there are opportunities to get full and partial scholarships, and by full, even to the extent of you can even get your accommodation paid for. So, but then depending on your how you'll be assessed, because when you get the when you apply to a school, then you will be interviewed to see why do you need this scholarship, and then how will it benefit you, but also benefit the school. After that, they are able to, of course, also they will look at your grades and the program you are trying to ask for, and then they are able to say they are able to say you'll get either partial or full scholarship. Now, on the other hand, there are also partners that we have on board that when you apply, because one thing that I would want our people to know is that a scholarship is always given to a student. Meaning you must have applied first. You apply to a school, and then they're able to reward you a scholarship. You don't get a scholarship before you apply.
So you must have been admitted
Yes.
into a school before you can get a scholarship.
Yes, you should get it, because even I would use an example of some of the popular scholarships that many Ugandans always try to apply for, which is the Commonwealth.
Yes.
You know, when you are going to apply for it, they will they'll also ask, first apply to our partner schools. When you're accepted, then you apply for the scholarship. Because most schools have financial aid. They have a scholarship. It can be partial, it can be full. There are those that will be rewarded because maybe you are good at sports. There are those that will be rewarded because you are good at studies. And then, of course, there's where you can apply and say, I need this financial aid because of my background and how it will help me because of also the program. Now, program choice also matters. There are STEM programs. This tends to look more at the females, getting them into the STEM programs, and they're always awarded scholarships, and some of them are full, some of them could be partial. So,
and by STEM,
yes,
what the gentleman means is that is sciences, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Yes.
Just so we are clear.
Yes.
Please continue.
Thank you very much for that clarity. So you find that there are different programs or scholarship programs that are looking at different categories. Some are looking at those who can't afford. Some are looking at those with, of course, brains, who are smart.
Yes.
That means you are competing on merit. And others are looking at, sportsmanship. You're good at athletics.
That is the benefit for the institution you mentioned.
Exactly. So when you go there and you play, let's say, soccer, we have many students. We have, actually last year, one of our students was making headlines in Canada. Who was playing? Yes, who was playing, soccer. We have another one who is in Netherlands who was playing hockey. We have, different kind of, students. Another one I think is in China, also playing soccer. He went to study. He was even on a scholarship, went on it to reach and found there was, of course, a school team, and he joined, and he's doing well.
And he's doing well.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's talk industry collaborations. Are there collaborations with educational institutions in the country regarding this?
Yes. So first of all, like I've said, I'll start from home. We have a high school called WR Global High School, which has partnered with Kai Global School, based in Canada, to offer high school or Ontario secondary school diploma programs. This is an equivalent of high school, which you are able then to transition to study anywhere in the world, but especially if you want to study in Canada. You are treated as a Canadian student, yet you will study online here in Uganda. And then, of course, we have also opportunities for languages, where you find that, for example, we are the exclusive partner with virtual educators. This is a language institution, professional Cambridge certified English teachers based in the UK and across the world, and they prepare students for English exams.
Okay.
And then, of course, also you find that there are partner universities which are even here locally, like Avance, which you find, I don't know if you know Avance University, you find there are exchange programs. That is also one way of collaborating. And then where our students can go the other side and their students can come this side.
Oh, so there is also an exchange program.
Yes. So the same way you find that now for collaboration, it goes both ways.
Yes.
For example, if I'm to speak about our local institution, they must also reach out. You reach out either, let's say, WR, and we put in touch with our partners the other side. For example, WR has direct contacts or contracts of partnership with over 150 universities and colleges across the world.
Okay, now as we close,
Yes.
let's look at the fair that
Yeah.
is starting tomorrow. Will there be interactive sessions between students and some of should I say, the people coming from the universities that they may be looking at joining?
Yes. So the major objective of this fair is actually to make sure that the student doesn't have to speak to third parties. You'll be speaking to school representatives. People have flown into the country to speak to students, parents, and guardians. So you'll be speaking to a school representative. Nothing like third party of, I was told, I hear this. Is that true or not? It is a school representative. You'll be speaking directly to the school. So that's why we're bringing them here. So that there is no because sometimes information is lost in between.
In translation, yes.
By the time, if you give me a word, by the time it reaches the 30th person, the message has changed.
Definitely changed.
This is the opportunity where you'll be speaking to universities and colleges from around the world.
And for those that will not be able
Yes.
to attend in person,
Yes.
and of course with the advent of COVID-19, we now have transitioned into, we have adopted
Yes.
technology.
Yes.
Will there be an interactive session for those ones online?
So we have our online platforms, and if we see it fit according to demand, we might as well give them a stream. We shall be doing recordings. We shall also be posting live updates so that people are able to get to know what is happening. And our guests shall be around to talk to any student. But also, in case you miss out, you say, some students reach out to say, I've traveled, I'm not around, I would have liked to be part of this. You can always reach out to us at our offices in Muyanga, or you can call us, or you can visit our social media platforms. You'll be assisted.
What's the handle for your social media platforms?
Our social media platforms, you just search for WR Education Placement. And for the fair, you search for ASEF Events, which is the short form for Africa Students Education Fairs.
All right.
Yes, and our website is as well up there. ASEF Events, you'll be able to get everything on how we can help you, how you can reach out to us as well.
Well, Martin Nomwesigwa, ladies and gentlemen, representative WR Education Placement Consultants. You should attend this fair that will be starting tomorrow up until Saturday, 2nd March 2024 at the Sheraton Hotel. Be there and make your future better. My name is Olive and you're still watching Good Morning Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you Tuko Pamoja Ankole segment. Learn about the fabrication of Ankole Kingdom from Nkore, the beautiful village of milk and honey at the detriment of Mpororo states.
Ankole as a kingdom came about in 1901.
Ankole is a colonial fabrication.
And all these small kingdoms were counties of the original Itara.
Ruhinda, Ruanjunachi, who was Mtrezi,
The son of Wamara Hanjanjuru.
and that starts the rulers of Ankole called Vahinda.
Who are the pre-colonial heroes from Ankole?
Is it Rutaraka, Muguta, is it Intare, Kitabanyoro? Find out from Tuko Pamoja.
Daily screenings at Ham Cinemax in Wandegea at 11:30, 2 p.m., 4:30 and 7 p.m. To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660. Tuko Pamoja?
buli munyayuganda nayitinga amakuru marungi. UBC West eyina amakuru marungi kandi agali kwesigwa. Rero za porogaramu zayo ziri omuli Nyakitara hamwe n'Orufumbira. UBC West eyina tekinologiya ey'omulembe eri kugibaasisa kuhika omu bicweka byona omu ihanga nangu n'aheeru y'eihanga. Tukwatire aha frequencies zetu kisoro china na mushanju katonyeze mushanju fama kabari china neshatu katonyeze mushanju fama hoima china na mwenda katonyeze mwe fama kampala igana itano katonyeze mushanju fama mbarara china na mushanju katonyeze ina fama Footpoto china na mnana katonyeze munana fama Masindi igana itano fama kurikiriza UBC West ohurire imbaganiza UBC West empika huna.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Welcome to GMU Tourism Express. Actually, this is the second day where we are exploring the very many beautiful and diverse species that we have at CTC Conservation Center. It is located along Masaka Road in Impigi, Butambala, and this place is one of the very unique places that you need to visit when you come to the country or when you decide to take over a day to explore Uganda. Because first of all, this is one place where you're going to get so close to these wildlife species. Look at me, who thought that I would be here holding a land tortoise, man. See this baby tortoise. It is very cute, actually. Wow. Anyway, I don't even have words. I'm just running out of words, but it is very nice. And when you think about exploring the country, CTC Conservation Center is a place to you. Come, let's do this.
This is a leopard land tortoise. This is around 8 months old, and this is 3 years old. They are basically vegetarians. They feed on grass in nature and commonly found in northern Uganda, Moroto, Karamoja region. That's why you can basically get to see them. The adult ones, we shall come across them. What they do is they dig and lay eggs and cover. And then that's where the babies hatch from.
What is so unique about the tortoise as a species?
The leopard land, it's their way how they look and their hard shell, and then they are not commonly found in other places except in hot areas. That's why you can get.
I've actually seen a documentary where a parrot used to teach a young child how to read. This child had a problem with reading. Maybe she had a problem with her tongue that she could not speak properly. So the parents tried so much to teach her how to read, but she failed. But then at home they had a pet that was a parrot. And this parrot, when the parents were away, the parrot would teach the kid how to read. And we are here at CTC Conservation Center with the great parrots. We want to see, can they really mimic the sounds when you say something? Can they really mimic that sound that you've said?
We have the African grey parrots, the kasukus, commonly known as kasukus in Uganda. Very good at mimicking sound if trained. Like if you grow up with it and you teach it, it will copy the sound. They are very intelligent birds, monogamous. They pair for life. If the pattern dies, it will stay single for the rest of its life, or sometimes they also can commit suicide. Like if it loses the husband or the wife, they like have to. So very intelligent birds. Sometimes people say they are Congo parrots because they are mostly found in Congo, though we have them here in Uganda. You can rate their intelligence to a 5-year-old kid, these ones. And they live for quite long, between 50 to 90 years. They live for so long.
So how old are those?
These we are not sure because they are not born here, so we can't tell.
Where did you get them from?
From here, Uganda, and you cannot tell who is a male, who is a female until you have done a DNA. That's when you can tell that this is a male or this is the female.
A DNA?
Yes.
how do they like meet?
How do they mate?
Mm.
Yeah, God created them in a way that for them they
You've
can.
never seen them?
They just climb like the normal, the chicken, how it does.
So how do you differentiate that?
We are not sure.
Yeah.
We must first do a DNA if we want to know that we have these males, we have these females. We have to first carry out a DNA.
How many parrots?
I think 8, if I'm not mistaken, 8. One of the difference is they mimic, meaning they can copy sounds in your own voice. So if you speak differently, even the kid differently, they will differentiate the voices. And then you cannot distinguish between who is a male, who is a female until you have done a DNA. Unlike in most of the birds, I'll give an example with sunbirds. The bright colored ones are the males, and the ones that are dark colored are the females. Unlike these ones, you must first carry DNA to know that this is a male, this is a female. Feeding, they are basically they eat a lot of fruits. They can eat watermelon, they can eat grapes, they can eat maize, they can eat chili, they can eat sugar cane. So they are basically fruit eaters.
You can come yourself and enjoy and have this beautiful moment chilling around with the parrots and trying to see whether they can actually mimic your name. You never know, you could come here and they call your name like Mike. So you never know. Find time and visit CTC Conservation Center. Holding this iguana is not something easy, just like you see it, because man, we had to struggle and see that you get it to hold it. Actually, it is not even dangerous, but because the fear that is instilled in us that holding wildlife, wild animals is a little dangerous. That is why you get scared when you actually first get an encounter with these animals, but they're not dangerous. Now, like this iguana cannot even bite, cannot do anything. You can just hold it peacefully and it can just be there. You holding it peacefully like that, enjoying this experience. Man, coming here to CTC shows you that there is most of the wild animals are not dangerous. You just need to learn how to live with them and be happy together with the wildlife.
Well, and good morning, and many thanks for sticking around to Good Morning Uganda this very fruitful Thursday of the 29th of February. Lots of business news are coming through in the country, and one of which that I'm actually going to be starting off with is rotating around the levels of exports out of the country, because according to what has actually been highlighted here, the Democratic Republic of Congo is topping Uganda's biggest export market. So when you start looking at it in this way, for those who are wondering how impactful the DRC's entry into the East African community will spur any level of development or clear room for market spaces. Because we got to realize that with 8 member states under the East African community, there is a lot to earn from the same if you are practically into the business. And when you look through the numbers, since the Democratic Republic of Congo apparently was initiated into the East African community, but before that, you look at the exports that include clothing, you look at food, you know, all of these are some of the items that have been highlighted as a topper on the list of why the DRC is one of the travel destinations of Uganda's business world. And besides that, you look at the kind of, Ugandan people who have actually been making money in the DRC. Besides the conflict in Eastern Congo, the worry is, most especially, that how can they adopt in such a situation? Because when you look at the political instability, which is one of the few things that normally affect businesses from growing, or that normally create tension among its member states. And the conflict in Eastern Congo is one of those that is still affecting the business traders, especially those of the SMEs who actually go in there to trade in the DRC, or who have already settled in the DRC in terms of business, opening up various markets and the same. So you get to realize that at times, some of those key challenges are still being highlighted, but the level of exports of the goods that are actually leaving is increasing. And as much as the different member states of the East African community are looking into what needs to be done to ensure that the DRC and Rwanda conflicts do not spur into a bigger kind of picture, or even looking into the internal conflicts rotating around Eastern DRC, because besides looking at the political tension between DR Congo and Rwanda, you get to realize that also the internal conflicts in there are also becoming an issue at hand, so which needs to be seriously addressed before it becomes a typical war or something that will definitely destroy peace within Congo. But in terms of business, you do realize that DR Congo continues to receive more exports from Uganda. Now, lastly, from our business news this morning, we head to the Ministry of Finance, which is saying, which has further revealed that it will no longer guarantee loans for private entities. Well, this is rather an interesting report coming in from the Ministry of Finance. It's something that I will definitely be looking deep into to bring you more details in regards to the same, but it's something that the private sector hasn't looked at positively, because it will be affecting them. Because at the time when you look into situations into the banking world, you do realize that most of the private entities are getting loans from the banks, but it's very difficult for them to compete with, let's say, the government when getting these loans, simply because the interest rates are high to some of the private businesses. And well, most of the banks would prefer giving loans to the government. Not only that, because with the government, you're sure enough that this money will come back according to the given time, and as well with the interest attached to it. And for the private sector, times more risks attached to the same. So the competition becomes quite difficult. And when you also look at some of the interest rates for most of the banks, it is also quite unfavorable to some businesses, especially medium-sized enterprises and small-sized enterprises, who at times are stressed with the kind of interest that they are supposed to be clearing once they've taken up these loans from the private entities or from the private banks. But well, as you look at the scope of the economy, as much as we are looking at how it will grow, this is not something that the private sector or the private entities would love to listen to, as the government will no longer guarantee loans for private entities. Well, that's it from the world of business. Now let's end it up with the Forex market to see how it did close yesterday evening. All right, now, besides that, just a quick reminder here is a statement on Professor Bukenya's appointment. The Presidential Press Unit wishes to inform the general public that His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has appointed His Excellency Professor Gilbert Bukenya on the Senior Presidential Advisor on Environment and Sanitation. Professor Gilbert Bukenya, we all remember, is a former president of the a former vice president of the Republic of Uganda. and well, he's now a senior presidential advisor on environment and sanitation. Well, that's it from the world of business. Coming up shortly is the world of traffic updates, so that you can go through it. But before that, let's first look at the forex market to see how it did close yesterday. And we're looking at the forex market. The US dollar did buy at 3,930.38 opening time, while selling was at 3,940.38. And then closing time saw the US dollar buy at 3,934.08, while selling at 3,944.08. The Great Britain pound was buying at 4,980.15, while selling at 4,992.81. And the euro was buying at 4,259.42, while selling at 4,270.25. The Kenyan shilling was buying at 26.94, while selling at 27.01. The Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.54, while selling at 1.54. And then the South African rand was buying at 205.59, while selling at 206.11. So that's how you will definitely find the forex market as you're heading into exchanging some currencies this morning. Coming up is the traffic updates with Olive Monica Naijuma. Stick around.
Well, the best way for you to start your morning is knowing which route to use and how the traffic situation looks in your neighborhood up until where you are going. So if you're coming from the areas of Sonde and Namgongo, going through Chaliwajala and Nalia, this is the route we are looking at this morning. My name is Olive Monica Najuma, here to take you through today's traffic updates. Now, for those coming in from the areas of Sonde, this is where we are picking it up from up until the areas of Ntinda and who knows, maybe even town. But first of all, let's see how you can move from one place to another and whether or not the traffic situation is bad or whether there is smooth flow of traffic. Now, looking at the road as of this minute, we see for people coming in through from Sonde side to Namgongo side, there is traffic jam at this juncture, and you might experience some bit of an inconvenience. But moving ahead, we see that now as we transition into Namgongo Road, at least for the time being, we have smooth flow of traffic. Continuing with Namgongo Road, a few sections have a bit of inconveniences in terms of traffic jam, but overall, at least where we are right now, we still have smooth flow of traffic along Namgongo Road. Now, when we reach the intersection that in Chaliwajala, where there are cars or vehicles moving from Chira side going to the side of Chireka and of course Nalia side, this is where we are now going to start experiencing traffic jam for those going to the side of Nalia. Now, looking at the intersection and a little after the intersection, you're going to experience traffic jam from the intersection in the middle of Chaliwajala and of course going past Vienna College, going past Lifelink, you will experience traffic jam in this area. And ahead, you are going to find orange zones that will indicate light traffic as you move ahead. And still continuing for those going to the side of town, you're now going to still experience traffic jam. In some places it's going to be intense, as you can see those red zones, but then in other places you will only encounter light traffic and you will be able to move forward. Now, as we continue with the road that is Nalia Namgongo Road, we experience for the most part light traffic as evidenced by the orange zones you are seeing on your screen. And even for those that are going the side of Nalia, going the side of Chaliwajala and Namgongo, in this area you're going to be inconvenienced around the market in Nalia. I see that on both sides of the road there is both light and intense traffic. So as you're moving, you should take note. Now, continuing ahead, let's see how this looks like. Still on the Nalia Chaliwajala Road, we are about to reach the roundabout, the Northern Bypass roundabout, and as you can see around here there is smooth flow of traffic, a bit of light traffic coming through from the bypass side, but overall it looks good for people going the side of Nalia. What you see on your screen right now is the roundabout at Nalia, the Northern Bypass roundabout at Nalia. Now, still moving through Nalia area. After the roundabout, there is smooth flow of traffic for a part, and then there is light traffic that we are going to encounter ahead. Now, when we reach where Nalia Road connects with Majwara Road, here we will experience some bit of an intense traffic jam. And then moving ahead still in this area where now Nalia Road connects with Chiwatule Road and Bogo Road, we will encounter a bit of traffic jam, but not so much. Now, for people coming in from Kaduyu Road, you will only encounter traffic jam around the Shell area as you connect to the main Chiwatule Road. After that, you will have a smooth flow of traffic. Now, as we transition into Chiwatule Ntinda Road, now we see that there is smooth flow of traffic for the most part. Those coming in from Ntinda those coming through from Ntinda Chigowa Road, you should be able to move without any inconvenience, because from what I see here, there is smooth flow of traffic from that side. And continuing with Old Chira Road now, for the most part, we still have smooth flow of traffic. You will only encounter traffic jam, at least for this minute, at the traffic lights in Ntinda. The traffic will be coming in from Ntinda Chisasi Road, but it is not intense, nothing to worry about. I'm actually of the view that this traffic could be because of the traffic lights that are in this area. Now continuing still as we go to now the areas of Ntinda, Bukoto. Now I see that around Lifelink Medical Center, you're going to experience heavy traffic jam, and there will be traffic jam coming in from Magambo Road, near the famous Kayembe stage. You will experience traffic jam around this place, and going ahead, you will find some areas you have smooth flow of traffic and other areas intense traffic jam. Now for those going in the side of Ntinda 2 Road, at least right now, we see that there is smooth flow of traffic and then light traffic jam as Movole Lane connects to Ntinda 2 Road and Upper Naguru Road connects to Ntinda 2 Road. And as you move forward, Ntinda 2 Road will now have a bit of traffic jam as you continue ahead, where Katalima Road joins Ntinda 2 Road. Now in this area, you will experience intense traffic jam, as you can see on your screen. And as we continue, when Ntinda 2 Road connects to Ntinda Road, then the traffic jam there may stop. And if you're following Ntinda Road to go to the areas of Nakawa, for the most part, you will find that there is smooth flow of traffic there up until when you connect to the main Kampala-Jinja Highway. And from there, you will know how best to move to different areas. Well, we can't go any further. That has been our traffic update for today. We'll be back tomorrow to share more on the same. My name is Olive, and Good Morning Uganda continues.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial star 165 star 3 hash or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you Tuko Pamoja Ankole segment. Learn about the fabrication of Ankole Kingdom from Nkore, the beautiful village of milk and honey at the detriment of Mpororo states.
Ankole as a kingdom came about in 1901.
Ankole is a colonial fabrication.
And all these small kingdoms were counties of the original Itara.
Ruhinda, Ruanjunachi, who was Mtrezi,
The son of Wamara Rhanja Njurwabwera.
and that starts the rulers of Ankole called Bahinda.
Who are the pre-colonial heroes from Ankole?
Is it Rutaraka, Muguta? Is it Intare, Kitabanyoro? Find out from Tuko Pamoja.
Daily screenings at Ham Cinemax in Wandegea at 11:30, 2 p.m., 4:30 and 7 p.m. To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660. Tuko Pamoja?
Junko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret? Uganda, haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM? Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk. No, Sewatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving. Junko, I thought I was one of your friends. You are, but you left me behind. I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your to chairperson and your parish chief, and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government, designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
107.3 Kampala, 96.9 Mbale, 95.7 98.6 Soroti. You are all covered.
The cardinal role of a government is maintaining, guarding citizens and providing essential public goods and services. Throughout its tenure, the government has consistently upheld these principles. This foundation creates an environment conducive to delivering crucial social services through diverse approaches such as taxation, strategic budgeting, and effective policy implementation. A transformative education system, advancing healthcare provisions, enhancing social welfare, and promoting infrastructure growth, all of which continue to evolve daily to cater to the population's expectations. Supported by a meticulously organized network of ministries, government remains committed to serving its citizens. Coming 6 p.m. with Joram Paul Sonko, only on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda. I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono. Thank you so much for being with us. And of course, right from the hour of 6, those that did start the day with us, really appreciate your time. Every moment spent with us here on Good Morning Uganda, we do treasure it. Now, this morning, I'm going to be discussing something very, very important in terms of alleviating poverty, fighting poverty, and ensuring economic growth through the cooperative model. But now we want to focus on risk management in cooperatives. Like I've already said, there is so much that government is doing, and the vehicle that they are using to fight poverty is the cooperative model. Now, we must ensure that we understand very, very well what the cooperative model is all about, but also we get to know, in case of uncertainties, where are the shock absorbers? How can cooperators be protected? And with me on set, I have Francis Semogerere, no, Francis Semoanga. I don't want to give the man to another clan. You see, in Uganda, clans matter so much, and each clan has its name. So this is Francis Semoanga, who happens to be the business development manager, cooperative insurance company. Now, this is an insurance company of the cooperators with whom we are going to be discussing this and more. Francis, you're most welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And just next to me is the usual suspect. A man very passionate about cooperatives. A man over time gotten sometimes mistakenly to call him cooperator or cooperatives, because no matter what time of the day you meet him, no matter which place you meet him, he'll be talking about cooperatives, he'll be talking about cooperating, and in case he even takes you for dinner or anything, be assured that what you're going to be discussing there is something to do with cooperatives. Ivan Asimwe, who happens to be the General Secretary, Uganda Cooperative Alliance. Ivan, most welcome.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chirabo. Good morning, our viewers. Good morning, everyone. This is a very wonderful morning, and I'm really privileged to be here. Thank you so much. I want to thank UBC for this opportunity. Thank you.
I just want to begin with my guest, Francis, this morning. When we talk about a cooperative insurance company, someone wonders, I've been looking through the history of cooperatives, and cooperators once had an insurance company. So is this the same? Is this something new? What is your mandate?
Thank you, Mr. Chirabo. Sometimes it is hard to talk when you have your chairman in the house. Mr. Ivan Asimwe is the chairman of CIC Insurance, but let me try to attempt to that, then a bit later on. Cooperatives have had entities that keep them together, keep them vibrant. And so we had a cooperative insurance society. That was the insurance company back then, which was vibrant. And it kept together the cooperatives managing their risks. But that, you know what happened, poor management, and whatever it is that is going to mention, that it collapsed. And assets got sold and stolen and stuff like that. Now, there has been space from maybe 1971 to when CIC was formed to manage the risks of cooperatives. So CIC today is a replica of the Cooperative Insurance Society back then. Its intention is very clear, and it is formed by the cooperative societies to manage their risks. Yeah. The only difference with this one is that we've got shareholders from the region, within the region, cooperators from Kenya, cooperators from South Sudan, Malawi. They're all trying to give CIC Uganda support to enable the company manage the risk of cooperatives. But it is more or less the same. So we are taking off from where the other one left, and we've learned lessons to make this one better. So this is a best version of the previous. Yes.
Now that said, I come to Ivan. When we talk about risks of cooperators or this cooperative society, what are some of these risks? And one would ask, if there are risks, why have a particular insurance and not other insurance companies that are around to handle these risks?
Thank you so much, moderator. First of all, my name is Ivan Asimwe, like you have rightly mentioned. I'm the General Secretary of Uganda Cooperative Alliance, but again, I'm the board chairman for Cooperative Insurance Company, representing Uganda Cooperative Alliance, which is the apex body. Now, that one literally means that this is a company purely owned, controlled by the cooperators. And like we have rightly mentioned, and Francis, we had almost a similar company in the previous years, which collapsed with the collapse of the cooperative movement. But as cooperators, you know, cooperators, one time I was here and I told you, cooperatives don't die. They just sleep a bit. Then with the time, once they awaken like this, cooperators are there. So we kept asking ourselves as cooperators, for how long are we going to keep with the ideology of poor? Poor meaning passing on opportunities repeatedly. Passing on opportunities repeatedly meaning I get money from cooperatives and I take it to other companies and give them businesses, but cooperators are not gaining. So we said no, we need to form our own company as cooperators in the country. Because when you talk about cooperators in this country, we are talking of a very big constituency to the tune of 50,000 registered cooperative societies serving over 18 million Ugandans. That's a very big constituency. 18 million Ugandans, even if someone contributed just 1,000 shillings, it is a lot of money. That is almost 18 billion. Just 1,000. If I say Chirabo, Ivan, Francis, all cooperators, 18 million, just bring 1,000. That's 18 billion. So you see the power of numbers. So looking at that, we said no, enough is enough. I remember when I was in a SACCO as a general manager, I used to pay almost 30 million per month, giving it to insurance companies. But I sat down and asked myself, where is the return? If I'm giving this money every month, where is the return as a manager, as someone who is learned, someone who has gone through books? At the end of the day, I am getting this money from a SACCO, donating it to an insurance company where I don't have a stake. So where is the return? So given all that, the cooperators sat down and said, enough is enough. Let us form our company. But of course, starting an insurance company is not easy. You need a lot of capital, you need a lot of infrastructure, because they are all requirements by the regulator. So we had now, using the 6 principles of cooperatives, you know, for us, we are guided by principles. The 6 principles of cooperatives says cooperation among cooperatives. We now visit our friends in Kenya, who are the cooperators. You know, Kenya has the largest, when you talk about the cooperative movement, it has the muscle. So we sit with them, like he has mentioned, and using that principle, we sat together, we agreed, and they helped us to establish CIC Africa Uganda. Here we are. Now, when you have to look at the size of CIC, take an example of Kenya. Today I was reading the net assets of CIC group is around 59.6 billion Kenya shillings. That's a lot of money. If you are to use the current exchange rate, it's a lot of money, too much money. So, and it has others, subsidiaries. Go to Southern Sudan, you go to Malawi. Now we are here in Uganda. But we are the majority shareholders when it comes here in Uganda. So we work together, and now we have an insurance company which has subsidiaries, general business and life business, like he's going to explain. Now, why did we think of insurance? We realize that there are very many risks within these cooperatives. Very many risks. Because Ugandans, we know that we have very many forms and types of cooperatives. Talk of the forms, we have very many primary cooperative societies. Then they come together, they form secondaries, like Banyankole, like Chibing, like Bugisu, like Sebeyere, Nalango. Those are secondaries, like Ukusku. Those are secondary cooperative unions. Then we also have tertiary, where the members are secondary unions. And then we have the Apex, which is Uganda Cooperative Alliance, whose membership are both secondary and tertiary. Then beyond that, we now have the types of these cooperatives. We have the financial cooperatives, these are SACCOs. We have agricultural production and marketing. You hear the Banyankole, the Lango Cooperative and the Bugisu, all of those. We have energy cooperatives. We have transport cooperatives, water and environment, health cooperatives, housing cooperatives. There are so many, but they have different risks. Now, before I go to these risks, Ugandans, what is a risk? In simple terms, a risk means a possibility that something undesirable will happen. Chirabo, you have planned maybe this morning, I want to wake up at 5 and go to UBC to work. You don't know what is going to happen.
Along the way.
Along the way. Anything can happen, an accident happens. That's a risk. So in other words, you had planned, a cooperative has planned, this year we are giving inputs to farmers so that they can increase their production. But you don't know what God is planning. Along the way, you may have too much rain or even sunshine. And whatever you had planned, your planned outcome does not come true.
And in the agricultural sector, that is very common.
Very common. Now, and you see, most of our cooperatives in this country, almost the tune of 90%, they are serving the smallholder farmers who are exposed to all of these risks. That is why we came up with this company, making sure that we as cooperators, what are our needs, and who is ready to listen to our needs. Because we realized most of others are focusing on making profits.
Yes.
But for us, we are focusing on how best we serve the interests of the cooperators. So the very many risks, take an example of the liquidity risk. You are a SACCO, but tomorrow you don't know what will happen. A saver may come, he wants his money, it's not there. That is a liquidity risk. Then the risk of default. You are giving out loans to individuals, but you don't know along the way what will happen.
Who fail to pay.
Yes, who fails to pay. Someone may have gotten money today, as he's even walking back home, he gets an accident and dies. And there is a default automatically. So we now look at that, whereby we are looking at mitigating that risk of default in a case there is permanent disability, in case of catastrophic loss, in a case of death. So that one is there. You have maybe, there is the legal risk. You are there doing a business as a cooperative, anything happens and there is change of law. There is change of policy, like I've seen with the energy cooperatives. They have been operating, but eventually Ministry of Energy is thinking otherwise in terms of giving them licenses. That is a policy risk. So anything can happen. So there are very many types of risks. The legal, the policy, the default, the liquidity. There are so many risks where even the market risk. A cooperative like Chibinge, which is exporting coffee to Europe, you don't know along the way from Chibinge up to Germany what may happen. So you need to mitigate that risk. So all of that forced us to think very fast and come up with an insurance company that is going to address our insurance needs.
Now, that said, Francis, when I look at most at times, it is an insurance company that is not part of this other company. Now, let's look at your ability. You know, when Ivan talks about cooperators and cooperatives, he talks about huge figures.
He's so passionate.
Leave alone being passionate, but talks about huge figures.
Yeah, true.
He just talked about 18 billion, if every cooperator. Now, that means their assets are also quite big in number. When you talk about Chibinge, a cooperative I've visited frequently, the trucks they have, the warehouse, and all these machines. Now, let's look at the ability of this insurance company to insure the cooperators. To what extent are you able to? You know, when liquidity happens, when maybe damage to property has happened, a ship has sunk carrying tons and tons of cooperators, coffee. I'm so interested your ability to handle such uncertainties.
Thank you, moderator. Now, our ability, you're talking in terms of our capacity, financial
Yes.
capacity.
Yes.
Hey, okay. As a CIC, a cooperative entity, we have been financed and capitalized by the cooperatives. Now, cooperatives in Uganda are simply learning to capitalize us. And I call him Chair. Here you will call him Ivan. He has done a good job in taking the evangelism to the cooperators to learn how to support their own. And I will give a bit of a background before I come to that. That people talk about the glorious past. We used to have very strong, vibrant cooperatives. These things do not spontaneously self-assemble. They have people who have thought through, and they are supposed to be put together by the cooperators themselves. Today we are crying, we need support as the cooperative insurance company for the cooperators to buy shares. They have no idea that it is this company is theirs. Some do, and some have actually supported. But we need every cooperative to be part of the movement. The chair is also leading another delegation to do the cooperative bank. Now, this is not something that will come from heaven. It has got to come from the cooperatives themselves. Now, when you talk about CIC Uganda, we have been capitalized by the cooperatives themselves here in the country. And then because the chair and other stakeholders realized that we might have inadequacy of capital, and then so we partnered with a number of others. But key in those is the CIC group of Kenya. Now, if we, in the Ugandan capital setting, if we are not able, because of the magnitude of a claim, if we're not able to pay, and I want to put this to the cooperators and everybody out there, because we do give service to everybody. Although our key focus is the cooperators, then after that, like how Jesus said, there are those in the Bible, there are those that were privileged to enjoy the gospel. And then those that were just abayudaya, abanamawanga. CIC, we want to be a team built by everybody, and so the capital that we'll be able to have will be servicing them. There is no claim that is going to overwhelm us because we've got support. And he's been talking about the cooperative principles, cooperation among cooperatives. There are so many cooperatives across Africa and in the world that have possibly stumbled and wanted to fail. It is so good news that other cooperatives cannot look at another cooperative collapsing. They always have an idea. They always think how best we can uplift this cooperative to run better. Because for us, it is our joy. The joy is in us to see that cooperatives are working. What is going to finish his shoes, the sole of his shoes, is he's moving around the country to make sure that cooperatives are sustainable, they're able to work together, they have got a vision. So CIC, we've got capacity. That even when CIC portfolio in Uganda is limited to pay a claim of Karuma Dam, there is CIC group, which is our parent, and it can offset that. And those are the figures that he's talking about. So nobody should be worried about how we shall be paying the claims, because we are fairly young in the industry, but very formidable, very strong, and we do give the best service that surprises anybody. And the cooperatives, so far, that is the chair, are very happy with the service of CIC, and not only those, but even the entire public, where we have put our footprint. People have appreciated. And I'm wondering where you're keeping your car, if you have one, Mr. Moderator. Everything that UBC has should come to CIC, because we have not only capacity, but we are so sensitive on the people we do give the service, because we do give the service in a cooperative spirit. That will teach you.
Well, which is not profit-oriented, but surplus. Now, something has just been running through my mind. We seem to be going back to the golden days of cooperatives,
Very true.
reviving the old glory of cooperatives.
Very true.
But one thing that comes to my mind, when we talk about the assets, the huge vision, what is keeping cooperators poor, Ivan?
Thank you so much. I don't know, when you talk of poor, what do you mean exactly?
When you move through number of places, yes, you'll find, I don't want to mention specific cooperatives, but they will tell you this is what our capital is, or this is the funds we have, these are the assets we have. But the members don't look that in tandem with the wealth of the cooperative. Why is the missing link?
Okay, thank you so much. So I understand you mean poverty, not poor. Okay, fine. So because poor means passing on opportunities repeatedly, that one we agreed. We are not, as cooperators, we have condemned it. We do not want to donate our wealth. No, we want to consolidate our wealth as cooperators. So when you talk of poverty, when you go outside there, not everybody is a member of a cooperative. And you are not going to change this within 1 day, within a year. It's a gradual process. So improving people's livelihoods is not something that is short term. It's a long term. And for you to do that, you need to complete the cycle. And that is our agenda. You know, for cooperatives to be very strong, and what used to be there before, you know, these guys were very intelligent. They were not graduates, but very intelligent. In 1960s, early 70s there, they had transport, Uganda Cooperative Transport Union. They had insurance, they had a bank, they had the marketing arm. Their produce was going through the coffee marketing board, the lint marketing board, the produce marketing board. I still pose a question to Ugandans who are looking at me. How come that we, the educated, have not reached that level? There is something that we need to address as Ugandans, as Africans. The level, the more I have realized, the more we get educated, the more we get exploited. Why? Because our education system here in Africa does not prepare Africans to think, but rather to remember. And the problem, the moment you are trained to remember, not to think, you'll only be told that so and so discovered Lake Victoria from Europe, when actually they were Uganda fishing. That so and so discovered Mount Rwenzori when the Bakonjo were gardening there. So, and you think that is something real? So for us, we really must think, and the thinking must come today. And this is the cooperative model, where you say, let us stop donating our wealth, but rather consolidate our wealth. And that is why we are saying, let cooperatives position themselves in production. Then we also go into value addition. I'm very happy with the government. When you go outside there, the government has done a lot in supporting farmers with agro-processing facilities. CAIP, the Community Agriculture Infrastructure Improvement Program, the Agricultural Cluster Development Project, NADS, OWC, and others, programs are there. But now what we need is community mobilization and sensitization to make sure that these facilities are fully functional. So once we have production, we have value addition, we have the marketing and the financial arm, which is now the bank and the insurance. I tell you, the history or the story of poverty
will be a complete cycle.
It will just be no more. It will be a complete cycle. But the moment we don't complete this, then you know, most of these colonials, they have positioned themselves in the financial sector, in the telecom sector, because they know there is a lot of money here. So how do you do this? You also position your people there. Production, value addition, marketing, finance. Once you bring them there, you are very sure. I was reading, you go to Netherlands, you go to Germany, go to France, go to Italy, they have their own insurers who are purely owned by cooperatives. Why? Because they know where there is money. So I tell you, moderator and Ugandans, we are on the right trajectory. And I'll tell you, the poverty will be history. As long as Ugandans really understand, like Francis was saying, this is a new company, because when you talk of CIC, literally we started in 2015. So we are just a young company. But we are calling upon all cooperators outside there who are listening, who are seeing me, let us avoid donating our wealth. Let us consolidate our wealth. Let us have a very strong insurance company like it is in Kenya. It is the largest insurance company, like it is in Europe. And then once we are done with that, we now go to the cooperative bank. Once we finish our cycle, poverty will be no more.
Well, that will mean that the risks are easily mitigated, and of course the cooperative insurance company will not be targeting profits as the main purpose, but surplus, and of course it understands the people it's dealing with. Now,
although I wanted to add something on what you said,
please do.
And I love how the chair says it. He's quite passionate. You said, why are we still poor? Where is the missing link?
Where's the missing link?
The thing is, all Ugandans with due respect, I think that is another challenge. The chair needs to get another project, whether from government or whatever it is, to sensitize us again, the people on the ground. The missing link is that when we look at countries that are ahead of us, and by the way, we are talking about these countries that are ahead of us, Uganda was the best in Africa. Then something happened along the way and they overtook us. But we know right now what we did then that was best, right? Now, if everybody understands that I am a cooperator, starting from families, and this is where I would like to implore Minister of Education or whatever it is to put cooperative education as part of curriculum. People have to understand that as a cooperator, you're not simply being a client of the bank. You are a shareholder in this village bank, which is a cooperative. It starts from there. And then the principles that the chair mentioned, the principle of member participation. You see, you go to an MFI, which is a microfinance, you get a loan, it is up to you whether you want to do a wedding or whatever it is. With the loan, it's up to you. With a cooperative, we do train you when you take this loan, because we care. We want you to benefit from what you have taken from the cooperative society. So there is another team in every cooperative that trains a member when a member takes a loan. So it starts with a member. We don't want you to be poor. Don't take a loan and then you simply misuse it. So when we start with members, and possibly members will be students from the tertiary institutions, universities, when they have an idea of what being a cooperator means, then in the future, we'll be able to have cooperators that fit under the principle of member economic participation. That is very key. That when you're with us in the cooperative society, you don't just sit back. When you get some money, the way we call it, you don't just misuse it. Actually, we would beat the PDM, sadly. We would beat the PDM, because for us, we do give you money with a training and with a sense of cooperation, a spirit of cooperation. We want you to be better. So we will train you to achieve your objectives using the loan you have taken. And then if you're repaying that loan, you help the society to also be liquid. It will have the capital. It goes on like that. And the cooperative movement will be vibrant. And I surely tell you, if every cooperator here, okay, if every Ugandan is a cooperator, this Uganda you see here will be in well-developed economy, one of the developed economies.
Now, Ivan, yes. First, when we talk about cooperatives, many people, much as you've given us the records and the numbers, many people still are locked in the old days. One, agricultural cooperatives. That is number one. But also, you find that there's been a problem, a current problem, where people do not form cooperatives for the right reasons.
That is easy.
You know, today a person will tell you, we are forming a circle, which is a cooperative. And they are forming because they have had Chirabo is giving money to people. Yeah. You make groups, you form a circle, you get money. When you read what a cooperative is, what brings you together is a common problem, and you're looking for a solution. When you remember the likes of China Kuria.
Yes.
You know? Now, what we are having today, I see a mismatch. And Francis is here saying, if everybody...
If everybody understood.
And okay, if everybody is a cooperator.
Yeah, exactly.
So, how do we ensure that what has gone so much under the carpet, we can rectify this?
Thank you so much. You know, that's why I'm always grateful with the UBC. And I want to call upon the other media houses.
Yeah.
Why don't you help Ugandans and Africa? They are, why, you see, when you go to TV, there are so many programs there. But you ask yourself, are these programs really contributing to the socio-economic transformation of Uganda and Africa in general? Why don't you come up with such good programs where a common Ugandan now seated in Kabongo, in Chisoro, watching and is learning? Because there is a lot of information asymmetry.
Yeah.
We are just locked in something
Yeah.
as Africans. And we must think, we must wake up. Africa must wake up. We have been stolen for a long time. We must wake up. I tell you, if Africans woke up today, Africa would be ahead of Europe, ahead of America, ahead of Asia Pacific. The other day I was reading, Congo is the richest country on the planet.
Yeah.
But you go there and look at the people. What is happening? The word poor.
You don't
they
need to
get
go
their
there.
minerals.
Just stay here and observe.
You see? Their minerals are going, you keep poor. Then you resort to sleeping in a church that you are now waiting to God. God to do what? God gave you everything. He gave you the head, he gave you the arms, he gave you the legs, so that you can now co-create, you add on. So, ideally, I don't know, have you ever thought one day, when you find a smallholder farmer, you like Chibinge, in Masaka, who can easily access inputs through a cooperative, can access extension services, even government extension workers, it will be easy for them to provide extension services because farmers are mobilized. And then the same farmer is in the garden where I know even if it rains so heavily, I have an insurance cover. I do not lose because my risk is mitigated. And then the same farmer is taking the produce to the store, which is a standardized store, which is a cooperative, and they are adding value. The processing machines are there. After processing, they package very well, and it goes to the market. And along the value chain, CIC or any insurance company is there to cover the risk. And you cannot suffer because there is a cooperative bank that is willing to give you credit at every level. And then you can access both internal, regional, and the foreign market. So that is the cycle that can end this poverty. But when you are talking of poverty, without looking at the entire cycle, you can never move your people away from poverty. You can only move them away from this poverty if you manage the entire cycle. And this is where we are heading. So I want to assure Ugandans that we are on the right trajectory. You have talked about why is it that some people are forming cooperatives yet they are not aware, they don't know what to do, such things. All is about information asymmetry. There is a lack of appropriate information, and that is why we thank you, UBC, for always giving Ugandans this opportunity. I really pray to God to give you all the blessings, because you have given cooperators the opportunity to learn, you have given Ugandans the opportunity to understand that actually this is the way to go.
Well, the sportsman must be here very shortly. I'll just give Francis just a minute to have his concluding remarks as we make room for Ruben for sports updates.
I thought we were here the whole day.
That only works with cooperators.
Okay.
Not yes, yes.
Thank you, host today. When I looked at our catchword today was risk mitigation, and I was happy, you know, that UBC can go ahead and think how cooperatives can even manage their risks. And I'm sorry, I'm going to take just 2 minutes. When we talk about risk, and he gave a very good description, in corporation or in cooperatives, we have what we call stewardship. Stewardship. Now, with stewardship, you must approach everything, and in microfinance, we call it best practice. You must approach everything with best practice, right? Now, it's different if you're managing your own risk. If I'm managing my own risk as me, I can do many adventures. No problem. If you're the steward of a cooperative society, then you must take measures to manage these risks. I hope I'm understood. That if there is a cooperative institution out there that is not taking into consideration managing risks, it is running its own race. The race we are running as a cooperative movement is risk management. And I don't want to say you bring those risks to CIC, much as I would love that. But I'm saying that cooperatives should have an idea, should have a philosophy that we must transfer the risks we cannot handle. And there are many we have seen. There are cooperatives that are transporting a member produce from whichever end to whatever end. They have got no clue of the uncertainties that happen when these things are in the containers moving. That is why CIC and other insurance companies do come on board and say, guys, this is produce for the members, and you must protect it. You must insure it. Give it a protection. If the container, I used to see so many fuel tanks overturn. If the container overturns, you've got an insurance cover for that. And then members don't lose completely, but the insurance pays. That's why CIC is here for the cooperatives. That is for cooperatives that are in marketing. And same applies to those in agriculture. Don't allow members to just plant, to just have their seedlings in the ground just far without any insurance policy. Same as poultry. All those risks that you cannot handle, because remember, in cooperatives we use people's money, members' money, and we must make sure at all times that this money is protected. We don't lose any coin. And what insurance, of all standard, the insurance is to put you back to a level where you were. We don't want you to sink in the ground. That's not with CIC, that's not with ICEA, whatever it is. The insurance policy that you can get from anywhere is to help you get back to a level, and then you run. So we want to support the cooperatives in all areas. You cut me short. Because
well, I must cut you short in the interest of time, because
as we conclude,
we shall find another time. Francis, well, he's also another passionate person when it comes to cooperatives, but we've been looking at mitigating risks. You're having people's money, we are looking at eliminating poverty. There is so much going into in the PDM. Sometimes government has talked about people not paying back money, people running. How do we mitigate these risks? You reduce CIC is there. See you in the next hour. I'll give room to Ruben to take you through sports updates. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial star 165 star 3 hash or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you Tuko Pamoja Ankole segment. Learn about the fabrication of Ankole Kingdom from Nkore, the beautiful village of milk and honey at the detriment of Mpororo states.
Ankole as a kingdom came about in 1901.
Ankole is a colonial fabrication.
And all these small kingdoms were counties of the original Itara.
Ruhinda Ruanjunachi, who was Mtrezi,
the son of Wamara Ranjanjuru.
And that starts the rulers of Ankole called Vahinda.
Who are the pre-colonial heroes from Ankole?
Is it Rutaraka, Muguta, is it Intare, Kitabanyoro? Find out from Tuko Pamoja.
Daily screenings at Ham Cinemax in Wandegea at 11:30, 2 p.m., 4:30 and 7 p.m. To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660. Tuko Pamoja?
Aldama squaring up from deep. Can't hit. Tipped in by Zaire Williams. And how about this? Stroud has been accustomed to not take a seat until the Wolves get their first points. Aldama makes it 12-0 Memphis.
Mike threw it back to him.
Mike picked up his dribble a little early. Yeah. An awkward sequence there from Conley. Jackson, the tempo, nearly lost the handle. And Williams finishing the lob at the rim, out of bounds. Another turnover for the Grizzlies. Quickly ahead.
My name is Ruben Mp Machibirango. Of course, I've got giving sports in a few minutes. But some of the messages coming in from the guys that have been here. One is saying that he's a retired teacher. He wants to have a be part of the cooperatives. But you know, it's interesting to have such conversations here. And when Asimwe gets in, it becomes more interesting. Anyway, but of course, I'll start with NBA and the big one that happened this morning has just ended between the Clippers and the Lakers. The Lakers have actually won that battle for the Los Angeles Derby by beating the Clippers with 4 points. 116 to 112 for the Clippers. The first quarter was a 59-point quarter, 30 for the Clippers and 29 for the Lakers. The second quarter was actually a 59 as well, a point quarter. 36 for the Clippers and 23 for the Lakers. Then where the Clippers took it was actually the third quarter. They had 30 points and 25 for the Lakers. Then the fourth quarter went to the Lakers. They had 39 and the Clippers only had 16 in the fourth quarter. Other games that we had, the Kings did lose the Nuggets. That was 117-96. We had the Wolves beating the Grizzlies 110-101. Then the high-scoring game was actually in Chicago. The Bulls did beat the Cavs 132-123. That means that this game gave us 255 points. Wow, at a game there. Then we had the Raptors as well, losing to the Mavericks 136-125 for the Raptors. And finally, the Pelicans lost to the Pacers 1-3 for the Pacers and 114 for the Pelicans. That is it from those are the results we had this morning. And tomorrow morning, as we come into studio here, a few games will be played, or a couple of them will be played. The Lakers will take on the Wizards. I'll start with the early games. At the Spectrum Center, the Hornets will take on the Bucks. That will be at 3 a.m. Then at the Kaya Center is K-I-A, Kaya Center, at 3 a.m. the Magic will take on the Jazz at Kaya Center. that stadium really is, the name is funny. There, of course, the Nets will take on the Hawks. That will be at the Barclays Center. That will be at 3:30. Then at 3:30 as well, at the Madison Square Garden, the Knicks will take on the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors are supported by Albert Semiano and Henry Iga. Those guys love the Warriors. And when they lost so many games, they were up in the arms telling me, we shall get back, Ruben. You've never gotten back, Semiano and Henry Iga. Okay, the Spurs will take on the Thunder. That is Famba's team. The Thunder is Famba's team. The man who's the tallest man here. The Thunder, that Famba supports takes on the Spurs. One day I'll bring Famba here and you see the size. You wonder if that is the man I talk about every day. The Suns will take on the Rockets. That will be at 5. The game will be at the Footprint Center. And then the Nuggets will take on the Heat at 6 a.m. and that game will be at the Boro Arena. And lastly, the Lakers will take on the Wizards at 6:30 and that game will be at the Crypto.com Arena. Those are the NBA fixtures for you. And of course, we had games played last night. The FA Cup, where Man U narrowly beat Forest in that 89th minute by got new. Casemiro was on the score sheet in that game. And then Chelsea beat Leeds by 3-2. I watched up to 75 minutes when Chelsea was actually, the game was 2-2. Then I switched to Inter against Atlanta. What a game of football. Last time I watched such a free flowing game was when Inter played against Perugia. The Perugian team that had Hideyoshi Nakata. I know many of you are not even yet born when we watch Perugia play against Inter. The Inter team that had Salas and Zamorano, Javier Zanetti, Marco Materazzi, Walter Samuel, that Italian team. And of course, the other side of Perugia, we can only talk about the Japanese playmaker, that is Hideyoshi Nakata. By the way, Japan has produced players. I have not seen a special player like Nakata. Forget about Shinji Ono, forget about Nakamura, forget about the Manchester United reject. That was, I forget his name. Nakata was a different player. Hideyoshi Nakata was one of the greatest I've watched from. We used to call him the agent ambassador in the Serie A because of his skill. Of course, Nakata. So this I watched Atlanta against Inter, and I was so impressed, by the way. Simone Inzaghi's team played. Simone Inzaghi wasn't a good player when he played for Lazio as a striker because Filippo was actually the better striker than Simone Inzaghi. But in terms of coaching, he really had a fun. He's having a great career. Of course, you never know what can happen in the next few years. Sassuolo lost to Napoli by 6 goals to 1. And surprisingly, there's no Victor Osimhen on the score sheet. No, he's actually scored the hat-trick. What am I talking about here? He had a hat-trick in that game, Victor Osimhen. But Napoli, that's the Napoli now we know. That's the Napoli that played under Walter Mazzarri. Not this Napoli, but that is under some coaches that you say, who is Gaffia? But under Mazzarri, Napoli had some good, entertaining football before even Sarri. Actually, there was Sarri, there was Ancelotti, there was even Gattuso at Napoli at the time. But they did thump Sassuolo by 6 goals to 1. Other games that we had, like I said, Chelsea 3, Leeds 2. Forest lost to United by goal to nil. Wolves beat Brighton by goal to nil as well. Liverpool did beat Southampton by 3 goals to nil. Kuma scored, then Dans had a brace in that game. That is the team Liverpool. Now, I think I've got to leave it at this. Maybe one message here. Okay, that's it for sports this morning. I want to go into the messages. I might even be caught off guard here. Join us tomorrow, 6:30 a.m. We'll be here to take you through. But of course, Extra is up next. Good morning.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you Tuko Pamoja Ankole segment. Learn about the fabrication of Ankole Kingdom from Nkore, the beautiful village of milk and honey at the detriment of Mpororo states.
Ankole as a kingdom came about in 1901.
Ankole is a colonial fabrication.
And all these small kingdoms were counties of the original Itara.
Ruhinda, Ruanjunachi, who was Mtrezi,
the son of Wamara Arhanja.